All right, let's continue. We'll take the same thing here, and this is not too different, but let's look at it in a code editor. Let's see what we have going on. So here's framedemo.java. We're going to import some AWT classes. Remember, we said we won't use the AWT widgets, but we'll use some of the classes. And here are our swing widgets. This is for our JFrame and our JLabel. So here's our frame demo. Don't worry too much about this. Here's our main, and we've got a little method here, create and show GUI. So here's our frame, and we just wanted to sort of take this out of the main method, sort of encapsulate it a little bit. All right, so we're going to create our frame, new JFrame frame demo. Same as before, set default close operation, exit on close. This is a static constant. Here's our label, new JLabel. This is a label. I made it a little bit bigger in this code, 250 instead of 100. Now here, add the widget to the container. Note, either way will work. Frame.getContentPane.add, and you know, there's this, you can just do frame.add. I like to do frame.getContentPane just because I sort of like to know what's going on behind the scenes. But if you like this shortcut way to do it, that's fine too. The result is the same. Now display the window. Frame.pack will automatically try to pack up your frame using your best the best layout, if you will. And here frame.set visible true. So let's go ahead, turn the crank, and we'll run this. So let's just look and make sure we have it in here. There it is. Okay, let's run it. I compiled it earlier, so here it is. Here's our frame demo. So you can see it's pretty simple. The label is resizable. In this case, it was 250 by 100, but now we can resize it. Now notice here it's still running, but there, exit on close, it's done. So this sort of little pattern here. So you can see really writing GUIs in Java is pretty simple. This sort of little recipe here, you know, with many variations on a theme, but you can write a large class of pretty simple GUIs, you know, add widgets and things, you know, just following this recipe. Now, one thing just to be aware of, and as you've heard me say a few times, don't worry too much about this for the moment. Java containers have a number of different layout managers. JFrame, the default is border layout. What does that mean? So this is a border layout. This is the border layout demo from the Java tutorial. And what it does, border layout is this manager. They used to call this north, south, west, east, center. They changed it to page start, page end, line start, center. But north, south for a desktop computer, north, south, east, west, center works fine. And you can use both. You can call it north and south, or page start or page end. I'll always call it north and south. What this means, if you want a component to be on the top, you set it when you do the add. Here's the top, border layout dot page start or border layout. So here, if you want the component to try to be up at the top, you can do border layout dot page start. Page start is the same thing as border layout dot north. So see north, east, west, center, south, or equivalent. If you wanted it to try to be in the center, you'd set it to border layout.center. Now, you note, you'll sometimes, with these layout managers, you'll look at it and you'll go, I didn't expect it to do that. You'll get some behavior that you don't expect from time to time. It's okay. It happens to everybody. You saw in our example, we set it to center, but it was, was over here. That's because there was nothing else at all in the layout. If we had had 5 components, it would have indeed been in the center. The layout managers try to pack things. You remember the frame.pack? It tries to pack things automatically, and sometimes it makes decisions that probably a human would make. It's a computer program. At any rate, these layout managers are widely used, are very widely used in Swing GUIs. So just to sort of wrap thing. One before we wrap up, just a quick note. I mentioned this briefly in the beginning. So here's something for you to know. And this is really powerful. This is really nicely done. So all of the GUI components, all of the widgets, are subclasses of javax.swing.jComponents. So, for example, all your buttons, all your text boxes, all your text fields are all subclasses of javax, Java extension, javax.swing.jComponent. jComponent itself is an abstract class. You cannot make an instance of jComponent, but you do routinely make instances of subclasses, classes that extend jComponent. Now, jComponent is a perfect example of an abstract class as opposed to an interface. It's a class you can't instantiate, but it's got some implementation in it. Actually, it's got a ton of implementation in it. So it's got tooltips. There's things you can do for visual effects, painting the components, just basic different colors and things. You can have different borders, bevels, thick lines, thin lines around your components. The layout managers, pluggable look and feel. So you can have a native look and feel, and in that case, Java is cross-platform. So native look and feel, it'll try to look as close to the native widgets. If you run it on a Mac, it will look like a Mac. If you run it on a Windows box, it'll look like Windows. Run it on a Unix box, maybe it'll try to look like Motif or something. Event handling is something else we're going to have to do. All of this good stuff is in the jComponent class, and all of your widgets are subclasses of jComponent. So this is great news. Once you learn this stuff for one, you sort of know it. You sort of know it for everything. So jComponent, maybe we'll just try to bring this up if we can. And there it is, the jComponent class. So this is worth your while to check this out. All this functionality, once you learn it for one, you sort of got it for all of it. Now, while we're here, I pulled up some things just to look at. The Java tutorial, here's how to make frames. So you probably want to check this out. Here's using layout managers, and this is actually one called flow layout. We looked at border layout, flow layout. It flows things left to right. It flows them. Boom, 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 boom. So you probably want to check this out. And there's also, oops, I want to clean that up, the API documentation. So let's bring it home. So Java components are added to, so we've got the idea of containers and components. Every Java Swing program has a top-level container. We will use JFrame. JFrame is what we'll use. All GUI components are part of a containment hierarchy. We add the components to a content pane. Now, another common practice, we'll add components to a non-top level container, if you will, a JPanel, and then the panel itself. So we could add a whole bunch of components to a JPanel. Then we would add the entire panel to the content pane, or we would add the entire panel to the content pane of the JFrame of our top level component. And here, very powerful, all Java components are descendants of JComponent. So you learn some functionality for one. You can use it, and it's easy to do. You'll see. It's easy to do. You know how to do. You know how to set a tooltip for one component. You can set it easily for any component. Okay, more to do, but that's your introduction. The very best thing you can do is look at some of the code examples. Start writing programs yourself. It's the best way to learn. Okay, see you later.